שמחה של שיר חדש
Okay, I'm going to start with a question. The question goes like this. There's many mitzvahs in the Torah. There's many difficult mitzvahs in the Torah. There's many easy mitzvahs in the Torah. What is the most difficult mitzvah in the Torah? Straight up. For you. Okay. Anyone else? The toughest mitzvah? Honoring your parents, keeping Shabbos. What else have we got? Tons, yeah.
Probably the most difficult mitzvah, maybe one that we might think is one of the Eastern mitzvahs.
There we go.
I know what it is.
Go on.
So I've got a feeling I know what it is. You're going to say it's to be happy the whole time.
Oh.
To be happy the whole time. The Vilna Gaon, the very famous Vilna Gaon says that the hardest mitzvah is simchas Yom Tov, to be happy on the 3 festivals, maybe even Rosh Hashanah, there's a mitzvah of simcha. So Pesach, Shavuos and Sukkot, there's a special mitzvah to be happy.
Not the whole time, which might just the Yom Tov.
Just Yom Tov.
Wow.
If I may, I don't know, maybe this is a little bit controversial, we'll say it anyway, get shot afterwards. Everyone knows the song, Mitzvah Gedola Liyas B'Sim Mitzvah Gedola, right? In Israel, everywhere you go, you got these buses, boom, Mitzvah Gedola. So the Mitzvah Gedola Liyat B'Simcha Tamid, right? That's how the song goes. This is Rabbi Nachman says this. That is the first source for this mitzvah. In Chazal we find Simcha Gedola Liyas B'Mitzvah. You should have a lot of simcha when you do a mitzvah. Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. That's what we find before Reb Nachman. Reb Nachman came along and he saw that the generation was, they weren't serving Hashem properly. There was something missing. That's when Chassidus started. There was very different movements started then, and lots of people believe. And it makes a lot of sense that we're here because of the Chassidim. They revived, they gave energy to where, just learning Torah wasn't hitting all people, right? Lots of people can learn Torah, it's a great thing. But some people found it harder, so they weren't so connected. So Reb Nachman came along as a mitzvah gedolias b'simcha. He got guys into Yiddishkeit through that way. So other Chassidim had like a different niche how to get people into it. But in the Torah, we find there's a mitzvah to be happy on Yom Tov. Now, hopefully, at the end of the shiur, we're going to have possibly a couple of reasons. Why did the Vilna Gaon never said, it's not clear why he said it's the hardest mitzvah. I mean, if you ask me to be happy, that's great. Have a bagel with some smoked salmon, with lox, it makes me happy. I'll be happy after. I'll be smiling for a while. Like, what's so hard about being happy for 7 days?
And with wine and meat?
Rega, wine and meat. Is there a din to have wine and meat? With what do we get happy?
It's just hard to be happy constantly, 24/7.
Great.
I think we're being helped a lot. If we've got the meat and the wine, and it's a Yom Tov, it should be easier. We should flow with it. But no, it's still a ma'aser, we're saying.
I think we need to define happiness, whether it's being satisfied, or whether it's something chemical, or just a drop, not the whole time, obviously, but anything you want to define quickly so we can then put that in.
Aha. So this was the topic I was hoping to avoid. What is happiness? What is happiness? You have to forgive me. I said this was the topic. This was the topic that I was hoping to avoid. What is happiness? To define happiness?
We sort of know, but I just thought...
We sort of know, right? We sort of know. Well, I guess we can say what it isn't. It's easier to say what happiness isn't. It's not thrill. It's not like a passing, people get very excited. Go to theme parks. I remember as a kid, go to a theme park. And there's nothing like, we've got a Brit here, okay? Yeah, Alton Towers, Thorpe Park, right? There's some of these famous rides in England, yeah? And you get to the top of the, there's Oblivion. It's a great ride, okay? If you're ever in England, go to Alton Towers, okay? Is it Oblivion? I think it's called Oblivion. it takes you to the top, and then it puts you on this tip. You're very, very high up, and it stops there. So you're facing a hole in the ground, but very, very far down. I don't know how many meters. I think it's hundreds. I don't know if it's hundreds, but it's very far. At least when I was a kid, it looked like that. And you're looking into a hole with steam coming up, and then it drops. It just drops, and you go flying down. That second, that thrill, that energy, right? That's what simcha isn't. That's not happiness. I'll never forget that thrill. I've been a few times, right? You go around, you queue up for another hour. Coming down, and the mist comes into your face, and you go underground, you come out the top.
Rush.
A rush, adrenaline rush. People love it. People love it. That's not happiness. To say what happiness is I can't say it.
It's the absence of the opposite. I think that's fair enough. People would then understand it's the opposite of sadness. It's something uplifted and hopefulness. It's a combination, disposition that combines a number of things. And psychologists and social scientists can.
Right. Well, the truth is, we are going to define somewhat what happiness is, because.
Will we go on more rides also?
Sorry?
Will we be going on more rides?
Maybe. Okay. So, the Vilna Gaon says it's the most difficult mitzvah. Aryeh over here is saying the reason must be because for 7 days to be happy, it's crazy. You heard the saying, just take some meat and wine, you sort it out. Let's get to the sources. Let's work out where this mitzvah started, where it ended.
It's difficult to be happy for the right reasons, I would say, without having seen the sources. Maybe
Okay.
happy, but
Okay.
for the right reasons, and something that can be lasting.
Okay. We have a second pshat here. Judah, right? That's your name? Still. Nothing changed. Judah is saying a pshat that maybe the Vilna Gaon said this is the toughest mitzvah to be happy for the right reasons. Yeah, lovely, jubbly. Let's see.
I just realized the big thing is when you have to. That's the big thing there. Just, I have to. Sorry, I'm a bit slow.
If you're happy, clap your hands.
All right. So you heard this saying, another pshat. If you have to be happy, be happy. Oh, sorry. You ever tried to go to sleep when you have to go to sleep? You have a meeting the next day, and you have to be there, so you need to get some sleep. You can't fall asleep then, right? You have to do anything. Okay. Let's start from the sources. Number one, this is in Devarim. It's a pasuk which is talking about Yomim Tovim. V'samachta lefnei Hashem leikecha. You should be happy in front of Hashem. Ato, you, uvincha, your son, uvitecha, your daughter, v'avdecha, v'amascha, your servants, your v'halevi Hashem b'sharech, the Leviim, which are in your gates, in your area, neighborhood. V'hager, and the ger, v'hayosem, the orphan, v'ha'almana, and the widow Hashem b'kerbecha, b'mokim, in the place Asher yivcha Hashem lekecha, where Hashem has chosen l'shakin shmoisham for His name to rest. I mean, where the Shekhinah is. Okay, this is the pasuk. It's in Devarim. You should be happy. You, your son, your daughter, your maidservant, the people around you, the Yosem v'Almana, people who are less fortunate. Okay, so be happy. With what? With the pasuk doesn't say. There's another pasuk which is later on in Parshas Kisavai, which says v'zavachta shlomim. This is talking not about Yom Tovim. You should slaughter shlomim. You should offer up a shlomim. It's a type of carbon. V'achalta shom. You should eat it there, which is talking about in. I don't think it's talking about Beit Midrash. I don't remember exactly. V'samachta lefnei Hashem lekecha, and you should be happy in front of Hashem. So 2 psukim, both of them talking about happiness. One is talking about Yom Tov, and one is talking about. It's following the klolos of Har Evel, and it says you should bring up a carbon, and you should be happy. So, the Rambam says that from the fact that we see it says happiness by a carbon, when it says happiness by Yom Tov, what does it mean? Bring up a carbon and eat the meat. This is what the Rambam says. It's taken from the Gemara, of course. So in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, says the Rambam, I'll quote it, I did not put it on the source sheets, apologies. HaSimcha ha'amura b'regalim, the simcha which is said by Yomim Tovim, who? That is, sheyakriv shlomim, you should offer up a shlomim, a type of carbon, yesa al shalmei chagiga, on top of your other korbanos which you bring the Yom Tov.
The lashon of the samachta, like, is it a commandment? Is it like a cause, like that gives you what? It's a response. You will be happy, not necessarily the samachta, the tisma, or the. I mean, I know that in the Torah, like sometimes you have different
ways of saying it. I was thinking, as I was reading it, it said v'samachta.
You will be happy.
Yeah.
Not you have to be happy. You shall be happy.
It's a good question. It said v'tismach. V'tismach. It says v'samachta. It even sounds like it will happen by itself. V'samachta.
Like a cause.
Yeah.
The result.
It's
Result, yeah.
It's
Not cause, result, yeah.
It's a very good point you're bringing up. I don't know why would it be said like that? Because we definitely take on. We're going to see in the Gemara and in the Rishonim we're bringing here. That's a mitzvah. It's not something. It's not optional if you want to be happy. It's our time. This is a mitzvah. We want to be happy. You're saying the lashon of the pasuk, the way it's put down is different for that. V'samach, v'tismach. I don't know. It's a good question. It's a great question. Okay, so we brought the Rambam in Hilchas Chagiga, which tells us that what it means is to bring an extra carbon, and that is your simcha. Okay, I would like to go now to source number 5. Source number 5 is a Gemara in Pesachim. The Gemara in Pesachim discusses the mitzvah of simcha. And what we haven't discussed is, it's very nice in the times when we had the Beis HaMikdash. In the times when we had the temple, all those days, the good days, which they're long gone, unfortunately. So you could bring a carbon, and yalla, you're done. You eat the meat, and that's your mitzvah of simcha. What are we doing nowadays? The Gemara is going to discuss it. Let's have a look at the Gemara. This is the very first line. Tanu Rabbanon, that tof resh is for Tanu Rabbanon. Chayiv Adam, a person that's obligated l'sameach banov, to make happy his children, Ubnei Beisa, and his household. Beregel on Yom Tov shenema v'samachta b'chagecha. Wow, the Gemara is opening our eyes. It doesn't say you should be happy. You should make other people happy. Make your household happy. That's a new one. Okay, we're going to come back to that. Shenema says v'samachta b'chagecha. You should be happy on the Yomim Tovim b'chagech, on Yechagim. Here we say Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach. Chag is a festival. V'samachta b'chagecha. Says the Gemara, B'meh mesamcham. With what should you make them happy? You got a whole load of people around your table. How do you make them happy? Should you hire a comedian?
Yes.
Yes, says Mr. Comedian. Right? The Gemara asks, B'meh mesamcham. With what should you make them happy? Says the Gemara, B'yayin. With wine. We're back to wine again. Okay. But yain with wine. Rabbi Yehuda says, Anoshim b'roi lahem, men with what they get happy. V'noshim b'roi lahem. And ladies with what they get happy. Ladies do not generally, if you want to say, let's have a good time, they say, okay, let's have a glass of wine. That's not usually how it goes, you know. Yeah, I want to go shopping. They've got all sorts of different ideas to us blokes. What makes them happy? They take differently. So says the Gemara, you can't. It's not a one cure for all, just wine. Anoshim b'roi lahem, men, with what is befitting for them. V'noshim b'roi lahem, and ladies with what makes them happy. Anoshim b'roi lahem, men, which is what is befitting for them. B'yayin, for them it's wine. V'noshim b'mai, what do ladies get happy with? Says the Gemara, Tani Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says, Bebavel, in Bavel. Which is, where was Bavel exactly? Rabbi Poston, do you know where was Bavel exactly? It's a highly, Iraq? I think it was somewhere there, I don't know, I'm not great at these types of things, exactly where. There's books and books written about this, but Bavel, in Bavel, which was where the Gemara was written, Talmud Bavli, Babylon. Bevigdei tzivoinin, with nice clothes, tzivoinin, coloured clothes. That's what makes them happy. But Eretz Yisrael, but if in Eretz Yisrael the fashion is different. Don't get them big tzivoinin. You come home with the wrong thing. What are you doing? I'll send you out for, But Vigdei tzivoinin, if you come with Vigdei tzivoinin in Eretz Yisrael, you're out of fashion. What's in the trend in Eretz Yisrael? But Vigdei pishton, with clothes of flax, mugu hotzen. I think it means irons, right? Good.
Yeah.
I think in a Vrit as well, it's that. Yeah? Irons.
Pressed.
Pressed.
Wow.
In America you say pressed? That's the way you say it? You also say ironed?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I think the Rishonim say in Bavel they didn't iron their stuff, but in Eretz Yisrael you don't want to be caught dead walking out with a dress which is not ironed, So you want to make them happy? You got to get iron clothes. Fine. Let's carry on. So far, men, you make them happy with wine, says the Gemara. Ladies, with what's in fashion, get them clothes that are in fashion. Let's carry on the Gemara. What else? Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira says, Bisman shebeis hamikdash kayam, when we had the Beis Hamikdash, the temple was around. Ein simcha ela babasa. There was no simcha. When it says in the pasuk simcha, it did not mean ela babasa. It only meant with meat. Shenema v'zavachta shlamim. This is the pasuk we brought. You should slaughter a shlamim. You should offer up a shlamim. V'achalta shlamim. You should eat it. V'samachta l'fnei Hashem lekecha. So when the Beis Hamikdash was around, it was with meat. Meat, which we explained, means bringing a carbon and eating the meat. But now she'ein Beis Hamikdash kayam. Now that there's no Beis Hamikdash, ein simcha ela b'yayin. There's only simcha with wine. Shenema says in the pasuk, v'yayin yisamach lavav enosh. Wine makes gladdens the heart of a man. It's a lovely word. Gladdens the heart of a man. Okay. So, I think it's quite clear from this Gemara that there's two different times which we had in Klal Yisrael. One was when we had the Beis Hamikdash. When we had the Beis Hamikdash, how did we do it? We did it with this carbon, which was the carbon shlamim, and they ate the meat. And in our days, after the temple, after the Beis Hamikdash, anoshim baroi lehem, men with what is befitting for them, ladies which is what is befitting for them. What works for men? Yayin, that's wine, and for ladies, get them clothes that are in fashion.
But it used to be meat, but now it's no Beis Hamikdash.
Now it's Beis Hamikdash.
For women, it used to be wine and meat.
That's who said wine?
Yeah,
meat. In those days, it was only the carbon. There's a big machlokas if they were obligated in eating meat in those days or not.
I mean, there's also the line "Ein simcha el basar v'yayin," but probably comes from a different source.
Where does this source? This is really coming from Simchas Yom Tov.
But here it only says "Ein simcha."
Here it only says, that's true.
Was there wine along with the shlamim like a toda? Not
I don't
the
know.
same way, but
I don't know, but then it was on the Mizbeach, no?
I mean, only Nesicha.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
I also heard from Rabbi Rosenfeld one thing, I never helped, it makes him happy. He said the marrow bone.
The what?
The marrow bone.
Yeah.
He said that's what all the meat would taste like in the meat. It's a remez to all everything tastes like. So that I can imagine was pleasure. So if that's not around, I'm not sure.
Okay. So you're saying it was really good meat.
It was
It was something special.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we don't have nowadays.
Right. It's another reason to want the Beis Hamikdash.
Marrow bone, I'm smiling. A bit of challah and
Okay, so let's recap. Beis Hamikdash, at the moment, all we see is basa, meat, the meat of the carbon, and then in our days, after the Beis Hamikdash, the mitzvah is with wine. Ladies, with what's befitting for them. Okay.
What's hot? What's in fashion? Don't give me a dress from 25 years ago.
It's quite clear because
It's quite clear. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
it has to make them happy. If you get them a dress that doesn't make them happy, I don't know, give it back.
Even if it's expensive, it
Yeah.
has to be the right.
Unless they just like to spend money, you have to know,
Who ate the shlamim, please?
I think the entire family, they had to be pure. There's a whole discussion. What happens if they weren't pure? They happen to be not pure. They touched something.
Would you bring a shlamim?
On Yom Tov itself. Chol Hamoed maybe.
Carbon festival is a shlamim too?
So this is the interesting thing. It has to be on top, something extra. This carbon has to be something extra. Yeah. Maybe if you had left over from the Pesach, I don't know. Yeah, but it has to be something extra. Definitely extra than the Chagiga. Every Yom Tov you brought a carbon Chagiga. The Rambam says it has to be extra to that. Fine. Let's have a look at source number 3. Source number 3 is the Rambam. The Rambam is going to discuss a little bit more in detail how we do this mitzvah. Let's start with halacha Yud Zayin. Shivis Yemei HaPesach, for the 7 days of Pesach, coming very soon. Ushmonis Yemei Chag, and the 8 days of Sukkot, Im Shah Yomim Tovim, with the rest of the Yomim Tovim, assuming he's meaning Shavuos and Rosh Hashanah. Kulam Asurim BeHesped Uvatanis. It's also to make a hesped, I think it's called a eulogy in English. Vatanis and Tefas, and my English is, sound like a foreigner with my English. V'chayavodim, these are the words we're waiting for. A person is obligated, lias behen sameach v'toiv leiv, to be happy, v'toiv leiv, good-hearted. How do we explain that? Toiv leiv, you could see when a guy's in a toiv leiv mat, sort of. Who? Him, or Bonov, and his children, v'ishtoi, and his wife, or bnei Bonov, his grandchildren, v'chol hanilvim alav, and whoever's there, whoever's part of that situation. Shenema v'samachta b'chagecha. You should, another pasuk which we didn't bring. V'samachta b'chagecha. This is everyone knows the song. V'samachta b'chagecha. You should be happy on your holidays. Let's have a look how he is going to. Yeah, then he goes on. Let's say afal pisha simcha amora ka, and he carbon shlomim. He goes back, even though the simcha here is carbon shlomim, as we discussed. Like I told you before, the Rambam which we quoted in Hilchos Chagiga, yesh bichlal oisa simcha, including in that simcha lismoyachu, that he should be happy, or one of his children, bnei beisai, whoever's there, kol echad karoyoloi, each person, karoyoloi, befitting for him. Now the Rambam is going to go even more in detail into what is befitting. Gateshead, how do we do this? Okay, so we have to get a picture in our mind. You have a person and he's got a Yom Tov table. How is he going to make people happy? Gateshead, how do we do it? Hakatanim, the little children, Noisen lehem, he gives them klois ve'egoism u'magdonos. He gives them nuts, gives them little toys. In those days they didn't have Fisher Price and various other toy products. Well, what did they play with? Nuts, stones, football for Americans here, soccer. It's a big discussion how it came around, but there was always stones around, so you never actually needed a ball to play soccer. You make two, goalposts. So, olden day toys is how you make the children happy. The hanoshim, ladies, koin lehem begodim, get them clothes, v'tachshitim noim, and nice jewelry, kathim moina, according to how much money you have. The hanoshim, and the men, oichlim basa, they eat basa, they eat meat, v'shaisin yayin, and they drink wine. She'ein simcha ela babasa, this is what you said, Aryeh. There's no simcha except for meat, v'ein simcha ela b'yayin, and there's no simcha except for wine. Okay, this is basically what we've seen in more detail. Now, perhaps, we are going to understand a little bit better why the Vilna Gaon said it's a difficult mitzvah. Up until now, it sounds like paradise. For 7 days, sit down and get good food and eat it. All you can eat. Right. Sit down and eat. What's the issue? What was the Vilna Gaon struggling with? Now is where things are going to take a turn. Says the Rambam, Uchshu oichel, and when you eat, v'shoyse, and you drink, chayev lehachel, you are obligated to feed leger, to the ger, leyosim, to the orphan, lealmona, and to the widow, im shahanim hamlalim, with the other poor people. Aval, somebody, aval, but me, someone, shenoyel dalsas chatzeroi, he locks the door of his courtyard, and he eats and drinks. Him, who? Him, Ubanav and his children, Ve'ishta and his wife. And he doesn't feed or drink aniyim or lemore nefesh, and to people who are bitter. When we say poor people, it's an example for people who are bitter, for people who aren't so happy. Ein, this is a very, very sharp line from the Rambam. Ein zu simchas mitzvah. This is not a happiness of a mitzvah. Ela simchas kreisai. It's the happiness of kreisai, his stomach. This is cool. You just want your tummy to be full. You just want to, walk around, what a good meal. That's not simchas mitzvah, a simcha of a mitzvah. This is the first time which we've seen v'samachta. We read the pasuk v'samachta v'nei Hashem Elokecha. You should be happy in front of Hashem. No one mentioned mitzvah here. The Rambam puts in simchas mitzvah. This is putting a whole new twist on everything. If you do it just yourself and you don't include people who are needy, people who need to be made happy, that's just called filling your stomach. Okay, the Rambam goes on. Now, let's bring the Rambam. This is number 6, source number 6. The Rambam explains a little bit more, gives us a bit more of an idea of what he means when he says simcha. When a person eats and drinks, and he's happy with the Yom Tov, don't get drawn after wine, over schoik, with lightheadedness and jokes. Well, not really jokes. Jokes are good.
Frivolity?
Yeah, what's a good way to explain this from a person? You have to help me out. Frivolity. I don't know what frivolity means, but he says it's a good frivol. Right. That's great. Actually, I need to spend time learning the Oxford Dictionary. It's terrible. Anyone who carries on, whoever carries on with frivolity, that's how we say it. I'm trusting you. It's on camera, Don't say it wrong. But and you say, whoever carries on with this frivolity, simcha. I'm doing a mitzvah. So a guy comes in, he sees a bunch of guys, they're drinking wine, they're eating meat, and they're being lightheaded. It's not a respectable situation. Lack of seriousness, right? Something like that. And you say, what are you doing? He says, what do you mean? The Rambam told me it's a mitzvah. He says, don't say that this is a mitzvah. The guys are going to say, whoever carries on with this, mitzvah simcha, he's doing more mitzvah simcha. Don't say that. Shashikrus, someone who is drunk, getting drunk, and lots of lightheartedness, v'kalis saroish, and lightheadedness. Ein simcha, that is not called happiness. The Rambam is touching on a little bit of happiness. That's not happiness. Ella, hoilelus, v'sichlis. It's don't have good words for these. Foolishness. Yeah, hoilelus v'sichlis. Sechel is foolishness. It's that's not happiness. V'loinit stavenu al hoilelus v'sichlis. We weren't commanded to do foolishness. Ella ala simcha. These are the words we're waiting for. What type of happiness were we told to do on Yom Tov? Simcha sheyesh ba'avodas yotza. Simcha, happiness, which has in it serving yotza, serving the Creator. So take somebody like the Vilna Gaon. And the Vilna Gaon knows how to serve Hashem. He's professional at it. Okay? He is very good at serving Hashem. And then we come to Yom Tov, and Hashem says, drink wine, eat meat, be happy. We know what it's like after a meal, We just finished bagels and a good meal. You feel relaxed, feel happy, There's a measure, like centimeter, meter, foot, all different types of measurements by the measurements of the Torah. There's an amma, there's a tefach. These are different measurements. And there's a few different types of tefachim. A tefach is usually a fist. Yeah? That's how big a tefach is. An adult's fist. I got a small fist? Oh, with that. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know if it's with that, without it. Right. Oh, with the children with that. There's two types of tefachim. Tefach soichik, a laughing tefach, and tefach otziv, and a sad tefach. What's a tefach soichik? You open your hands a little bit. That's a laughing one. Because if somebody laughs and someone's happy, he's open. He's open in not only in a physical way, in an emotional way. Person's open. Someone wants to get something out of a business meeting. Someone wants something of someone else, right? You don't want to talk someone into something. What's the first thing you do? Give them a good meal. Give them a good meal. At the end of a good meal, that's when you give over your pitch. You're a businessman. You know what I'm talking about. Right? If you haven't done it, do it. You're satiated. That is when you're open. You're happy. Like, in the olden days when they finished a meal, they used to unhook the top of their trousers. I know this from my grandfather. He told us about it. It's like a certain sense. You're laughing, right? You do it nowadays, you get kicked out. You get kicked out of the restaurant. You open your. But that's how they did in the olden days. It's like a certain sense. I've had my food. I'm satisfied. Now, what do you do with that satisfaction? What do you do with it? Happiness can be a vehicle to take you somewhere. That mood, that place where you've gotten to with your meat and your wine and your Suda, can take you somewhere. Says the Rambam, can take you to being stupid, to foolishness. You're calm, you're relaxed, you don't have the daily grind, it's not on your head, you don't have your regular schedule. You have time to just sit, right? We're meant to make a Suda on Yom Tov. Says the Rambam, don't go left. Don't go left. Don't use it for nothing. It's Yom Tov. Use it for avodas hayotza. Use it to serve Hashem. Use it for something higher. Take this to the next level. Avodas hayotza. Something like the Vilna Gaon. He knows how to serve Hashem. That's when he kicked in. That's when it all kicked in. A way to explain this is Yaakov Avinu. He had his Ben Zakunim, his favorite son, so to speak. How we can talk about the others, it's hard to talk about it, but the way it's put over by the Pesuk in Pashat Pshat is he loved Yosef, who was from Rachel, who he loved the most, looked like Rachel. Yosef goes missing. Not for 1 year, not for 2 years, for 22 years. And the Torah tells us he never got happy afterwards. He never got happy. He never got comforted. He never got comforted after he went, the fact that he was missing Yosef. And after 22 years, he hears that he's alive. He goes down to Mitzrayim. Can you imagine the excitement of a father meeting his son after 22 years of missing him? And he meets him. He gives him a hug and says Rashi, what did he do when he hugged him? Shema! He said Shema! What are you saying, Shema? You just met your son. You haven't met for 22 years. I know, say, I love you, Yosef. It's so good to see you. I don't know, what would someone do in such a Lahavdil Elef Avdalas in a different situation? But unfortunately, we've seen the terrible, terrible situation of the hostages, right? And they're coming back. Imagine the parents, the siblings, the friends to see someone who's been through such a thing like that. What do they say? It's the pictures and videos that go around. People are desperate to see, because such a moment is so full of emotion. It's so full. It's like, whoa. Let's assemble the hostages to come back very soon. So you have Yaakov Avinu after 22 years seeing Yosef. He's gone to Mitzrayim. It's a little bit of the same. Mitzrayim. I don't know how nice they were to him. Yosef. He was in jail for years.
He took the emotion.
He took the love a father has for a son, and he used that for Hashem. Can you imagine 22 years of missing a son? We say, what's the first thing we say in Shema? V'ahavta Hashem lekecho b'chol levavcha. We love Hashem. You should love Hashem with your whole heart, your whole soul, and all your money. It's Pashat Pshat. Something like that. Says the Mefarshim that Yaakov channeled this moment, this build-up of love and just outpouring of emotion, shift it, use it for avodas Hashem. So now we understand a little bit more. The Vilna Gaon, when he finished his meat and wine, he started working. We're not going to go through it, but the Torah Shulchan Aruch brings the Midas HaChasidim. And he says, when Chasidim, the pious people, the people who were very holy, when they got happy, he said they started praising Hashem. But simchas, when they were happy, as Yosef, more and more, mevarchim, they blessed them, they sang praises, they said praises, Asher Samchon, because Hashem's the one to make them happy. That is what he did with it. So to summarize, the mitzvah of simchas Yom Tov, have meat. Have wine. The ladies for what they have. So clothes. Kafim emoinum, according to how much money you have. You can't get clothes. Buy them a new pair of shoes and jewelry, whatever it is. Children, get them toys. I remember growing up, we always got new books for Yom Tov. Yeah. So after the meal, we all thought about the books. It was a great simcha. I usually won the fight. That is the posh-up shot in the mitzvah. And be happy for 7 days. Try not to be sad. Try keep in that good mood. Sometimes something sad happens. And you feel sad because of it. You want the mitzvah to be happy. Special time to be happy. And then there's this bonus, that the happiness we're trying to work towards, that happiness which we get to try and channel it. That's the difficult bit. It's written. I didn't bring this Rambam. There's another Rambam at the end of Hilchas Sukkah, by the Yom Tov of Sukkos, has got a din simcha much more than all the other Yom Tovim. And the Rambam speaks out there that it's avoida kosher ma'oid, something like that. It's a very hard avoida. To use your simcha for the Eibishter. How can you thank Hashem? How can you be happy with His mitzvahs, happy with davening, happy with emunah, with bitochen? Everyone's got their own thing which they can get in touch with Yiddishkeit, with Hashem. Try and use your simcha for something higher, something more halachic. Shkoyach.
But the mitzvah is to be with people, to give, like you said.
Definitely with people. It's to make a siddur.
You do it by yourself, it won't work.
You could, I guess you could do it by yourself. It would be better with people. You can do it by yourself, of course.
You make a mitzvah.
Generally, it's talking to a person who has a family, has a wife and kids. So he has a mitzvah. We didn't discuss this. Perhaps next week we'll talk about it a little bit more. But for somebody, he has a mitzvah to make small children happy. You're talking about 3-year-olds. They have a mitzvah. They don't have chinuch. There's nothing chinuch for little children. What's the pshat in it? Why? They say the pshat is, if you're happy, if you're really happy, you can't see another person sad. No. You need to take everyone with you. On Purim, there's a halacha, kol ha'poshet yad noisnei. Whoever says, can I have some money? You're meant to give them. Why? It's a mitzvah of simcha. Because if you're really happy, you can't see someone else sad. So if someone says, I need money, my neighbor's going through a hard time, this person is... You can't, if you're really happy, you'll give them money. So that's why he has a mitzvah to make everyone else happy. But if he's there by himself, a person can be happy by himself. Eat meat, drink wine, sing a bit, learn a bit. Shechinah's with him. Avad Shechinah's with him. No question about it. A person can be happy by himself. No question about it. Shkoyach.
Shir Chadash